The president had concerns, and in his authority as president made a decision to make a change.
Trump tried to cheat. He got caught, and then he worked hard to cover it up.
Democrats wrap up their opening remarks in the impeachment trial. We take you live to Washington as Republicans turn to the president's defense. Details as Good Morning Kansas continues now.
Now live from the Cake Studios, this is Good Morning Kansas.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. We start with continuing coverage of the impeachment trial. Democratic prosecutors have made their case on whether President Donald Trump abused his power. An ABC News and Washington Post poll finds 2/3 of Americans say witnesses should be called in the impeachment trial of the president, but that decision will likely not be made until after the opening arguments are heard from both sides. Those arguments continue this morning. The case centered around those recordings involving the president, his team preparing for their opening remarks. ABC's Elizabeth Hurd joins us live from Washington to explain why it may take a little bit shorter time than what we've seen over the past several days. Elizabeth.
Good morning. Yes, today the president's team takes over, and we're also learning about a recording that Democrats say it could corroborate much of their arguments, but the president's lawyers disagree, and they say it won't have any impact on the case.
This morning, President Trump's legal team taking center stage on Capitol Hill.
We have two goals. We're going to refute the allegations that they've made, and we're going to put on an affirmative case as well.
And as the president's lawyers begin to mount their defense, ABC News has reviewed a recording that appears to be a conversation between President Trump and a man he has repeatedly denied knowing, Lev Parnas.
I don't know him. I don't believe I've ever spoken to him.
But on the recording, allegedly made during a private dinner in 2018, Parnas and the president can be heard discussing firing then U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch.
She's basically walking around telling everybody, wait, he's going to get impeached, just wait. I mean,
Get rid of her.
Hooray.
Okay, get her out tomorrow. I don't care. Get her out tomorrow. Take her out. Okay?
Excellent.
Do it.
On Friday, Vice President Pence did not deny the authenticity of the recording.
The tape that's been released today, in my judgment, would only confirm what people already know, is that the president had concerns, and in his authority as president made a decision to make a change.
Yovanovitch was eventually removed. The recording comes amid the impeachment showdown, with House managers pushing for new documents and witnesses, including former National Security Advisor John Bolton.
These witnesses have important firsthand testimony to offer.
Democrats arguing Americans have a right to hear the full truth for a fair trial.
I implore you, give America a fair trial. Give America a fair trial. She's worth it.
Well, as for today, the president's lawyers say expect a preview. They don't want their arguments to get buried on a Saturday, so they say the full presentation is coming next week. Live on Capitol Hill, I'm Elizabeth Hurd, ABC News. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Elizabeth. A reporter for National Public Radio says Secretary of State Mike Pompeo screamed obscenities after she asked him, and he refused to answer whether he owed former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch, an apology. Mary Louise Kelly says Pompeo also demanded she could prove if she could find Ukraine on the map, saying, "Do you think Americans care about Ukraine?" ABC News will cover more on the impeachment trial today. A special report is expected to begin at 9 this morning following GMK, so less than an hour away. There is no official time that's known for the total duration right now. The live telecast of X Games Aspen will move over to ESPN News. When that special report wraps up, it will return here and air on ABC. We are tracking breaking news this morning. The Kansas Highway Patrol just releasing details of a crash involving a trooper. That accident happened after midnight on Kellogg on the east side, just west of Hillside. The driver of a car was heading east and hit the trooper's vehicle. That trooper, by the way, parked on the shoulder of the road, and that trooper was inside the vehicle with lights activated on the vehicle. We're told both the driver and the trooper had minor injuries. The investigation is ongoing. You know, it's been a busy week for KHP troopers who have worked a lot of accidents like this one just a few days ago. The KHP says a trooper was helping with a slide-off crash on Interstate 135 north of Wichita on Wednesday when a Prius came up from behind and hit that trooper. That trooper is okay. We spoke with Trooper Tyrone Hall, who just graduated from training, And he says that in training, they focus a lot on staying as safe as possible.
Making passenger side approaches, or if I need a occupant to step out of the vehicle, either having them step farther off and to the side of the roadway, or having a person sit inside of my patrol car, making sure that the most important thing when we're conducting a good traffic stop or assisting people on the roadway as to the most dangerous thing is the traffic.
He said one of his biggest concerns is drivers not paying attention, whether that's looking at their phones or using a GPS. He said that he thinks most highway crashes are due to those distractions. So he wants to remind us of some things. First off, it is Kansas law to move over for emergency vehicles if you're able to, and of course slow down if you cannot. Breaking overnight, a teenager is rushed to the hospital with critical injuries after being hit by a car in East Sedgwick County. It happened at East Kellogg and 143rd Street around 8:30 last night. A lieutenant says a juvenile was crossing the street with another juvenile near that intersection when he was hit. They were not walking in a marked crosswalk. The sheriff's office had to shut down eastbound lanes of Kellogg for several hours as they investigated.
Well, we have a couple deputies out here that will see what they can do about reconstruction efforts, and then we also have personnel from the investigations division that'll be interviewing the driver and the other juvenile male that was out here.
The other teen and the driver are okay. Anyone with information about that accident is asked to call police. Now, also breaking overnight, police are asking for the community's help with finding an elderly missing man. There is some concern for his health. George Hodson Sr. was last seen yesterday walking on South Long Branch Drive, that is northwest of K96 and 45th Street North in Mays. Now, I want you to take a look. This is a closer look at George. He's 83 years old and he suffers from dementia. He's 5'9", 170 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes. If you happen to see him, or maybe you know where he is, go ahead and call 911 immediately. Now, you can be the first to learn about breaking news by heading over to our website at cake.com. You can also get updates on our Facebook fan page as well as on Twitter.